you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know more. Any day, any...
And you turned on Netflix that night. We were like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time.
Dana White has officially confirmed Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate, marking what many are calling the showdown we've been waiting for. This isn't just another one of Jake's carefully orchestrated stunts against retired athletes, irrelevant names, or paycheck-hungry opponents. This time, Jake is facing Andrew Tate, a fighter in his prime, known for delivering punches that
Nobody's sitting down right. Good reason. Yeah, I do. Not only champions of the past, we have world champions of the
hurt, both physically and existentially. But this fight isn't just about spectacle. It has a purpose. Tate is stepping into the ring with a mission: to avenge the legacy of boxing greats like Mike Tyson and expose Jake Paul as less of...
Don't worry about Conor McGregor you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, well, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport.
A legitimate fighter and more of a PR machine fueled by hype and, as critics suggest...
You know, there's a lot of... Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time. I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expect.
Possibly steroids? Dana White didn't just announce the fight, he also revealed Tate's deeply personal motivation. This isn't about fame or fortune for Tate, though the $3 million purse is no small incentive. For him, it's about pride, vengeance, and restoring respect to a sport he believes Jake has...
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful.
Treated like a game. Tate is determined to prove that Jake Paul is not the face of boxing's future, but a manufactured product of media hype. After Jake Paul's awkward bout with Mike Tyson, a fight many dubbed a tragic comedy, Andrew Tate...
You know, where his head's at in life in terms of what he wants to do.
Okay, well, you didn't answer the question. Do you have any interest in it?
I don't know. I mean, Andrew has messaged me over the past few days and...
Didn't hold back. He openly accused Jake of disrespecting not only Tyson, but the sacred art of boxing itself. For Tate, this wasn't just an underwhelming performance. It was an insult to every warrior who's ever bled broken bones or been knocked out cold in pursuit of greatness. Jake's fight with Tyson was more theater than sport. Tyson, pushing 60 and wearing a knee brace, hobbled into the ring and still gave Jake a run for his money. But did Jake leave humbled? Absolutely not. Instead, he strutted around like he'd unified every belt in boxing.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better.
Declaring himself the sport's greatest showman. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Critics called it a farce. Fans tore him apart online, accusing him of turning the sport into a circus. Even Tyson's loyal followers felt their idol had been reduced to nothing more than a pawn in Jake's endless quest for clout.
Do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like, I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania. We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions you want. 2 brothers, 1 cage.
Enter Andrew Tate. Stepping out of retirement like a gladiator from the Colosseum, he's ready to do what Tyson couldn't, silence Jake Paul for good. Andrew Tate's approach is anything but subtle. Because when has it ever been? He's made it crystal clear Jake Paul needs a reality check, and Tate is more than happy to deliver it. Forget the Instagram perfect press conferences or fake smiles. Tate is betting $3 million of his own money on this fight. Winner takes all. For him, this isn't about a paycheck or a social media stunt. It's a statement, a bold reminder that boxing belongs to real fighters, not wannabe influencers with inflated egos and questionable training regimens. And Tate has the credentials to back his talk. A 4-time world kickboxing champion with decades of grit and a highlight reel that screams danger. He's not just hype. Meanwhile, there's Jake Paul, the walking embodiment of the modern boxing era nobody asked for. Fresh off his embarrassing Tyson escapade,
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight. You might have a fight.
Jake did what he does best, dismissed the criticism and doubled down on theatrics. He brushed off the backlash as jealousy, because in Jake's world, anyone not worshipping him must be bitter. He even mocked Tate, calling him a washed-up kickboxer, and couldn't resist throwing in a few petty jabs, proving once again that subtlety isn't in his playbook either. Jake Paul's playbook is predictable. Drag people into his circus, toss out a few insults, and laugh all the way to the bank. But this time, the stakes are different. Jake isn't just playing the villain.
Logan's an idiot. Jake is actually quite a nice guy. I met Jake and he's actually quite a nice guy. I wanted to jump back in there and teach him all a lesson. And there were some fights on the card, some big fights for me being organized in November.
He's walking a razor-thin line between being the loudmouth who thrives on controversy and a fighter desperately trying to prove he's more than just hype. A loss to Andrew Tate wouldn't just dent his ego. It would crack the very foundation of the empire he's built on orchestrated fights and viral moments. Enter Dana White, not just a promoter, but the chess master of combat sports. He's seen enough of Jake's antics and the influencer-driven boxing trend that's turned serious fighters into memes. But instead of rolling his eyes like the rest of us, White took the chaos and gave it direction. He saw the circus and thought, why not?
While you're next training, I know you're only 18 days away from a fight, but next time you're training and you want some sparring, fly to Romania and we'll spar and we'll film it and we'll decide if we want to release it or not afterwards. But I have no problem. We can have a sparring match anytime. That's easy,
let's
right?
do it. Let's do it, guys. I'm down for that, but we can't. But we can't release it for free. That's like, it's like giving the people what they want.
Steer this shipwreck. The result: Jake Paul is now set to face Andrew Tate, a man who isn't here for clout, but for blood. Tate, with his 4 world kickboxing titles and a career built on grit, isn't impressed by Jake's theatrics. Fueled by disdain for everything Jake represents, he's stepping into the ring ready to deliver a reality check, powerful enough to light up the Vegas Strip. Dana White didn't hold back, calling the fight the ultimate blend of skill, spectacle.
I really dislike Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him. I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living out of Jake Paul. I'm not some washed up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him. And if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week. I reckon he knows that. However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box.
And storytelling. A polished way of saying it's going to be brutal, but you won't be able to look away. When Dana talks like that, you know he means business. This isn't just about punches. It's about creating a spectacle big enough to pull combat sports out of the influencer-driven mud Jake Paul has been stomping around in. White's fingerprints are all over this.
Let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see. Perhaps.
He brokered peace between the two camps, likely because Jake's team wanted every possible advantage, and ensured the fight's rules didn't devolve into a TikTok stunt. His involvement has elevated what could have been a cringy social media spat into the fight everyone's talking about. But let's not pretend Dana's here purely for the glory. The man knows numbers. Jake's chaotic Tyson fight may have been a disaster, but it still raked in $65 million. This time, White is betting on even bigger. Jake Paul's chaotic fight with Mike Tyson may have been a disaster for boxing purists, but it was a financial goldmine. With 65 million viewers and over $18 million in ticket sales, Dana White knows there's money in influencer fights. But here's the catch. If it flops, it drags down everyone's credibility, including his. So, Dana did what he does best. Stacked the deck. And
I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother.
Andrew Tate isn't just a name off a spreadsheet. He's the kind of fighter who doesn't pull punches in or out of the ring. For Tate, calling Jake Paul out has become a personal mission. He's taken aim at every misstep, every ego-driven moment, and every choreographed victory in Jake's career. To Tate, Jake is less a fighter and more a reality show in boxing gloves. While Jake's fans flood social media with praise for his revolutionary impact on the sport, Tate reminds everyone that real fighters don't build their legacies on gimmick matches and retirees. Andrew Tate hasn't held back when it comes to Jake Paul, especially regarding his controversial fight with Mike Tyson. Tate has labeled the bout a blatant cash grab and a stain on Tyson's legacy. Watching Tyson struggle into the ring with a knee brace, only for Jake to prance around afterward as if he'd beaten a prime Tyson, was, to Tate, an insult to boxing itself. In his view, Jake belongs in a circus, not in the same conversation as legends. But Tate isn't just throwing words around. He's mastered the art of psychological warfare. Relentlessly attacking Jake's reputation, Tate has branded him a fraud and mocked his amateur theatrics at every opportunity. His strategy is as calculated as it is relentless, dismantling Jake's bravado piece by piece until all that remains is insecurity and regret. And here's the kicker. It's not just talk. Tate has promised to deliver a reality check like no other. He's vowed to show Jake what it truly means to step into the ring with someone who doesn't see boxing as a quick cash grab, but as the ultimate test of grit, skill, and heart. Andrew Tate brings skill, heart, and grit to the table, while Jake Paul is still doing what he does best, mocking Tate, dragging Carl Froch into the mix, and being the loudest guy in the room. But let's be real. Jake knows the stakes this time. A loss doesn't just tarnish his record. It threatens the entire empire he's built on bravado, hype, and a carefully curated roster of hand-picked opponents. For Jake, this fight isn't just another payday. It's a gamble that could either solidify his brand or blow it up in spectacular fashion. So here we are, Dana White pulling the strings, Andrew Tate delivering a masterclass in psychological warfare, and Jake Paul standing at the edge of a career-defining cliff. This isn't just a fight, it's a battle for the future of combat sports. Will it belong to real fighters with scars to prove it, or will influencers continue to dominate? One thing's certain, when the bell rings, the gloves won't be the only things coming off.